Hey everyone, it's Jake Hall, the Manufacturing Millennial. Welcome to Automate 2025 here in Detroit, Michigan. I'm here with some amazing co-hosts. I have Nikki Gonzales from Automation Ladies.
Hey, thanks, Jake.
And we are joined today with Via Automation. We have Kiran Karunakaran, who's the CTO. Kiran, how are you doing today?
It's a pleasure for me to be here. Thank you.
Wonderful to meet you, Kiran.
Yeah.
It's great to be here. We're going to have some amazing discussions today as well, what's happening in the manufacturing space, and really specific in how companies can leverage AI to really be pushing productivity forward, to attract that next generation of workers. So to start off, tell us a little bit about your company and how it got started.
Sure. Via Automation, we are based in California. We are based in the Bay Area and the hub of AI, all things are happening, right? As most of you know, AI is the new UI. Because with the chat GPT and everything, you don't go for a screen and start clicking. You just ask questions, right? So how it all got started is my background is in semiconductors. So I've been in the industry for close to 25 years. So went around different fabs. This is what we call in semiconductor. Rather than factories, we call it fabs.
Yeah.
And we do automation in the fabs. So that's where I got started in. And what happened is over the last few years, the industry is getting complex with all the new chips that are coming in, that nanometer technology has advanced. So you need new technology so that we can keep the defects minimum and keep the manufacturing simple. So that's where VIA got started. To start with a Copilot, which is mainly for the industrial automation world, which is helping users to get their production much more faster and keep the process simple.
I love it. So when you look at the manufacturing floor, companies really are trying to figure out how to best leverage data, right? And really the information that exists already. You already have a lot of skilled workers, people who've been in the industry for 20, 30, 40 years, who have a lot of knowledge, and you want to be able to retain that knowledge on the manufacturing floor to pass to the next generation. So one of the biggest things we were talking earlier was talking about your industrial workspace. You're able to create AI agents where you're uploading information from manuals, operation documentation, real-time data on the manufacturing floor, and then be able to create a workspace almost like the chat GPT of the manufacturing floor where workers can be able to access and ask questions. How is that such a big push that what you guys are doing and offering?
Sure. About data, right? One thing is context is important because the knowledge. So the way we learn versus way the AI learns is slightly different. So let me give you a simple example, right? So let's say I am cooking something, or maybe I'm boiling milk in a kettle, and suddenly the doorbell rang. Okay, I just go out. I go out and address who is in the door. And by the time I come back, the milk would have spilled. I forgot to turn off the stove, right? Now, imagine the context what happened. Because the context is that somebody has rung the bell and I have something going on in the kettle, right? So when an AI looks at this data, it needs to find the context. It needs to understand what are the events that are happening. It's not only the manuals that we are looking at, it's the memory of what is happening, right? So when you go to a factory floor, the person who is working on a machine, he would have seen some of these problems over a long time.
Yeah.
Somebody knew you cannot just transfer the knowledge. You cannot just do a transfer learning in AI here. You have to kind of mimic a human learning curve and let the AI agents know about it. So that's where our industrial workspace comes in because it has the 360-degree view of what is really happening with respect to machine data, with respect to context, with respect to events, with respect to protocols. It's a whole bunch of things that you need to bring together and have the AI try to be autonomous there. So that's a huge differentiation.
Absolutely.
So how do the operators, I guess the operators are the ones that really bring the context to that data.
Totally.
I've been involved in AI and data analytics for a really long time. And the data scientists, they just look at the data and they're like, oh, I found something.
Yeah.
It's an anomaly.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. But the operators, it's something that they know exactly why it happens. To them, it's not a new finding, right? But that disconnect has kind of always been there. That makes it really hard for those that can analyze the data to understand what the context is as to what.
So that's where our AI agents come in. So if you look at the kind of data that happens, right? So you will see hand-me-down notes.
Okay.
So when the shift changes, I'll write something, put in a paper, and I'll hand it down. So I know this next person will look at the data. How do we ingest those content? Because now you need to think about OCRing those contacts,
Yeah.
right? And there will be multiple languages. When you have a factory in Taiwan, like in semiconductors, most of our the work happens in Taiwan, so it may be in Chinese or some other language. You need to assimilate that and give a unified context. So imagine a chat GPT for a factory. So that's our interface. So rather than you saying, okay, how do I fix the problem to somebody, you'll just go into our Copilot and say, hey, this machine is giving me this alarm. Give me the full context about it or how to solve it. So we bring in knowledge. There could be documents which are coming from PDFs. There could be manuals which are also part of it. There could be videos or there could be voice clips. You can just create a voice recording and attach to this particular problem and say, this is knowledge for my factory.
So when you look at these companies, you're going out there, you're building these models, you're building Copilot. Where do companies start? I think a lot of times they always hear AI this, AI that, AI buzzwords, but a lot of times they don't know where to start, to really start leveraging that technology and those solutions.
Right.
Where would you recommend a small to medium size machine builder, manufacturer begin to leverage these type of solutions?
The easiest part to get started is collect all your manuals, right? Collect all your knowledge, right? So I'll say there are like your self-driving car approach, right? There are different steps to a self-driving car. You start with knowing what is your area that you are going through, right? Then you start putting LiDARs and everything. So let's do the same thing for a Copilot implementation. So what you'll start with the manuals, right? In our case, you want the AI to be more explainable, right? Because you cannot have a machine shut down on a whim because you will have a downtime, right? So what we build is a digital twin of the whole machine. And based on the digital twin, you will have knowledge graphs. So the thing that I talked about, the kettle and other thing, right? So imagine these are all knowledge graph instances or episodes that are happening there. So what we do is we'll create an initial model of your factory and say in the factory I have 5 lines. In each line you have different machines and each machine have different manuals. That's the easy part. Right? The PDF, static content. The hard part is when you want to pull in real-time context. So we'll talk to the protocols that you may be having there, the historians or the databases that may be there. And then we build this whole digital twin and the knowledge graph. And that's what is exposed to the user.
Okay.
So he has this full view of what is happening in real time, is what happened 6 months back and what could happen 6 months from now. That's the predictive angle. Correct. So all these things are kind of intermingling together.
So when you say chat GPT for the factory floor, that's really a very descriptive way, but the chat is really just the way to interface with it.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the confusion for people today as well, is that, large language models, they talk.
Yeah.
What they don't do is actually analyze data necessarily. Yeah. They don't always pull from the right data. So you have a whole system architected behind it. It's just the interface is that familiar sort of chat.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
I think one of the big things that stops people from implementing this in manufacturing is like, well, if AIs hallucinate, I can't have my factory floor worker being told something totally crazy. Right? So you have a very complex architected system behind that.
Yeah, and it also varies. So we had one customer who had 3 factories spread across geographies, right? So a factory in Germany, they wanted to recover from a particular downtime for an event. It took them 2 hours.
Okay.
Another factory in Singapore, it took them 1 hour. And now you have a factory in New York, which was taking 4 hours. So there is a whole variation around why the same problem across the same tool is taking this much time, right? So come back to your question, the ChatGPT, a lot of people think AI is all about generative AI, right? Or you can create cute images of a dog or a cat or whatever, right? But when it comes to industrial setting, there is generative part, but what we look more is the prescriptive part.
Yeah.
So why this vibration in this machine is leading to a particular wafer defect down the line, or why that particular nozzle didn't flow the gas at the right time, right? So it's precision AI. That's what I will look at. So it need to be more explainable.
Absolutely.
So when you look at the solutions you're providing between digital twins, industrial workspaces, Copilot, if we were to summarize the 3 main reasons why manufacturers should turn to this in 2025, what would you tell them?
Yeah. So as far as the manufacturing is concerned, there are 3 M's. That's what we call One is the machine, right? And the second is the material, and third is the method. So you could start with machine, because machine is where a lot of cost goes, because every minute of the machine going down, it's a cost, right? And then you look at workforce. You don't get the right people now, because with the attrition, and when manufacturing jobs are coming back to US, we need to make sure the new gen is ready for that, because they all know ChatGPT, how to use it.
1000%.
They don't want to go and read the manual,
No.
the 200-page manual. So that's where the Copilot comes in, right? The second aspect is the material, because the quality is paramount. So you make a good particular product in America, it has to be the world-class standard, right? How do we ensure quality, the defect inspection? Because everybody has some inspection system in the factory. It has to get integrated. So if I created a particular product and the factory has that information that this is zero defect from my product, I'm good, right?
Yeah.
And the third part is the method. How can we optimize? We don't want like 50 people doing the same job of a one person with an AI can do. So that's optimization. So we bring all these three things together.
Awesome. So if we want to, if companies want to learn more about it, where would they recommend they start? They reach out to you, they go on your website, your LinkedIn. What are the best ways to start those conversations with your company?
Yeah, our website is getvia.ai. Obviously, you can go to the website, and you can also reach to the sales team. Obviously, you'll see us in all these shows or events, and we have a booth here downstairs in Holly. Will be helpful. I mean, anybody can stop by, and we will be ready to engage.
Awesome. Fantastic. So one final takeaway, if you were to, what's a question or a conversation or a topic that you wish more people discussed in the manufacturing industry when it came to these AI solutions? What would that topic be?
Yeah, the topic would be like how to get started. You had the right question, right? Everybody wants to get started in AI. But how do you really get started? What is your end goal? Is it cost savings or is it optimization? So that need to be very clear. You can do a Microsoft Copilot and say, oh, I have an AI in my factory. Everybody can use it. But is that what you really want? You really want to look at the process.
Fantastic. Well, we have Kiran here, who's a CTO of Via Automation, Nikki Gonzales from Automation Ladies, and Jake Hall, the Manufacturing Millennial. Thank you so much for joining us for this session. Stay tuned for some more conversations coming up really shortly.